spent most of her adult life to be able to, in some way, say goodbye as the hearse,
the mother of the nation,
travels through.
Absolutely, Peter. You know what I found interesting as well, just as you were still talking to Aldrin St. Pierre, we all know that Mama Winnie will be laid at the Tranquil Fourways Memorial Park out in Fourways, but traditionally, you know that she's still a Mandela, because even though she was divorced in a Western way, nothing was ever done to remove her from the Mandela ancestors. So she practically is still very much a Mandela, and by tradition, she should have been buried next to Ubaba Mandela in Nkulu.
Yeah, there's been quite a debate, I think, in terms of what her final wishes were and what the families had required. But as you're saying, it's all going to happen in Fourways tomorrow. But today, it's all eyes in Soweto, her home for many, many years of her life. And as she travels, the hearse travels through Soweto, people, I suppose, taking pictures, remembering, thinking about her, and there'll be some that will be singing, and you can see these young people who perhaps one day will be remembering where they were at this time in South Africa's history.
Absolutely. The MKMVA, they're leading that guard of honor, and we do understand that, of course, it's all the veterans, the army also present. They're leading that procession as Mama Winnie's body takes that stage, that lap for the last time to the home that she lived in for so many years, got banished from in the streets of Orlando. And I suppose those people, this is when they get to say goodbye, Peter. Some people will never even get a chance to go into the house because of all the beefed up security measures. Some of them won't even be able to make it to the funeral. So back to your question earlier as to what do these people have to say when they get there. All they just have to say is bye-bye, Mama Winnie.
Right. Again, people breaking into spontaneous song as Mama Winnie's body travels through the streets of Soweto there on the way home to her house in Orlando West. And this cortege will take its time. It will go very slowly through a relatively short distance. But for many, this is a very, very important time in their lives to be given this last opportunity, as you were saying, Alicia, to share in this moment, to say goodbye to a woman that they called the mother of the nation for so long.
Absolutely, and I suppose as tradition would have it, Peter, later on today there is supposed to be that viewing of the body. I'm not sure yet. We're struggling with our reporters on the ground to just find out in terms of those privacy adherences. I mean, what is the protocol around that? Is the public going to view her? Because we do know, remember Mandela laid in state for about 3 days and people were actually able to go and view her. So I haven't heard anything around that pertaining to Mama Winnie. And of course, we do know that that viewing essentially takes place during the vigil.
Yes, and look, I mean, getting inside the house has been something that hasn't happened. And that's been kept very private and reserved for
I suppose the family.
Very few people and dignitaries and special people. As we've said, cameras themselves have not been allowed in the house, and so that there's been an element of it that's been allowed to be private and remain private throughout. So it will be interesting, particularly when one considers that tomorrow, well today, and tomorrow is the last opportunity. Will there be a viewing by the general population? It's difficult to say, as it say, it's not been communicated.
Absolutely, we are awaiting the details around that, and of course we will be informing the public as to when and how. We do know, however, that the condolences book, Peter, that has been all over the ANC offices across the country. People have been able to go and make their marks, those that come from other parts of the country, and also some millennials who have also had the opportunity to go and sign online. There is a condolence book that is online. You can just Google it and, of course, put your message of condolence to the late mother of the nation.
And we're just seeing photographers there, journalists trying to take pictures and capture these moments. And no doubt that this will be a story that's going to be carried across the whole globe, the whole world, eyes on South Africa, because she was a global icon from right across the continent, Europe, Americas, you name it. People have heard and knew of Winnie Madikizela-Mandela.
Yeah, well, if you haven't heard or about the late struggle icon, then I don't know, maybe you're not really into current affairs, but everybody who's anybody, young and old, have all since the announcement of her passing, have all been visible, showing their support and, of course, taking part in the various commemorations that have been opened in her honor across the nation.
If you are just tuning in, we are bringing you